Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view us on the internet, simply type in capital letters RBRIMO and then go to videos to see our extensive collection of programming. The In My Opinion Show is also seen on Flint, Michigan, Comcast Cable Channel 17 every Saturday at 6 p.m. and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. The In My Opinion Show is also seen on Detroit, Michigan, Comcast Cable Channel 68 7 days a week. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide. Thank you for viewing our programming. I want to welcome our talented guests, co-hosts to the In My Opinion Show. Mr. Henry Hatter.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Mr.
And welcome, Jacky.
Thank you.
And Mr. Jacky Williams.
Thank you.
Let's talk about domestic abuse, specifically child abuse, whether it's the NFL or other sports, in the home or schools. Should it be condoned? There are a number of states that still allow some type of spanking for school infractions. What about parent abuse? Children are hitting, cussing, murdering their parents at alarming rates, which is... Jacky, what is your thoughts?
I feel very strongly about this. I think that the government should take a step back, because when the government stepped in, the parents stepped out of the circle. And now we have an overabundance of young people that are out of control. That's why teachers are not able to conduct the classrooms without disruptive behavior. And they're disruptive in the streets, and they're having to be banned at events because they're so out of control. I feel as though you should be able to discipline your child within reason, without abusing them, without the government coming to your house or the police coming to your house intervening. And I found it very interesting, because I didn't realize this, but I did some research, and I didn't realize that actually there is 19 states that still allow paddling in school. I didn't know that. Of course, Michigan is not one of them, but they still allow paddling in school. And back when we were young, we actually received paddles in school, and we didn't have the disobedience that we have like we have it now, where the students are so out of control. We had a better handle on things because we had discipline and it was used. So you don't have to be abusive with it, but you can use it where it helps conduct us, differently. So I think that our age group came up under that, and I think we're okay. I don't think I'm okay. I didn't die. I don't have social issues. As Dr. Phil said, that if you were paddled or if you were spanked, that you'll have social issues. I don't have social issues. I have respect issues for my mother. I respect her right now, so I don't agree with that.
Well, also, too, with this parental fear, all right, by many parents, orchestrated by these so-called social scientists and law enforcement, kids are using this to their advantage. All right. Well, if you spank me or threaten me, I'm calling the police and having you locked up. All right. Now, I wouldn't have dared say something like that to my parents. No. All right. I had a son that here in Flint, there's a curfew for under 15. I think it's at 10 o'clock, or it was something like that. And he came in at 12 o'clock. I said, the curfew is at 10 o'clock. I'm not going down to the jailhouse to pick your ass up. If you get caught by the police, well, my friend, I can stay out till as long as I want to, and I'll call before he got the pee out police. He wish he hadn't. All right, he wish he hadn't. And law enforcement ought to keep their noses out of, if the parent or guardian are not abusing their children, all right, okay, leave them alone. That's why we have so many problems with these children, okay? I mean, I got my tail tore up, okay, if I even looked sideways after my parents told me something, okay? Mr. Hatter, I know you were a bad boy when you were when you were adolescent.
Yes, it was. But guess what? I was never paddled.
You should have been.
Yeah, I should have been. But I was really I was a good student. And I had chores to do that I did not slack on, because they were from my grandmother and from my mother and stuff like that. And I loved my mother and my dad. We all lived in the same home, and they were good parents. They defended us even when we were wrong. And there were times when we were wrong, and the neighbors would say that we were wrong at a certain thing. But first of all, you have to establish the fact that you do have good parents. And I think that we need to segment out abuse into several categories, because we've had three. One is child abuse, and how that lack of restraint in the home has led to kind of a rebellious attitude in youth, and it's now has percolated throughout the entire population. Every state has to deal with that. You can see that in K through 12 settings. Students are absolutely disrespectful. They don't accomplish much. They have tremendously low achievement because they think that they don't have to do anything. They don't have to listen to mom and pop. They can't drive this in them anymore. And so they'll do whatever they will. The other type of abuse that is abuse to grandparents or to parents. And the third type of abuse is the abuse to a child by a man or a woman. Now, when there is some type of abuse that's absolutely just prohibited. When you, first of all, sexual abuse to a child, absolutely prohibited. There's no excuse in my mind. I'm sure that we all feel the same way about that one.
Right.
And so, depending on which one we're talking about, they all have their great moments of regret to all of us. And I think that you've done a great job with those kids who are out of control. But for kids who are sexually abused, there's absolutely, and I'm sure that society is doing its best. And I think that we all agree in most cases that sexual abuse is something that society should not permit. It hurts kids badly, whether they're boys or girls. It should never happen. And we should do everything, while we'll never eradicate it, we should at least control it. And how we do that, we don't look at ways of how to control sexual abuse, because everybody's talking at one time. We have not come up with a plan that we've discussed that could be implemented by large groups of folks, like from churches, if churches believe in the same thing. I'm not always sure. I don't mean that. I take that back. Different churches have different degrees of support for this. And some churches do join the rest of the world with it. But that is one of the things that we do. We should come up with a plan on how to deal with these substance abuse. And we need to talk to law enforcement. We need to talk to the bench. And we need to talk to people who create programs, like in the schools. Now, many types of agencies out there that are funded to discuss abuse and establish plans are making money, so they're not going to be the friends of. They got great lobbies. But somehow, in the United States, that might be a difficult thing to do, but we need to come up with a plan. And I don't hear anybody discussing any plans, but yet we have these things come before this table year after year, and it seems to be the same subject that we're always discussing. We need a plan. Mm-hmm. You can't leave it to the president to develop a plan. It has to be grown from the ground roots up.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Pedophilia, it seems like it has proliferated. Just it's out of hand, and whether it's a female or a male or they should get the maximum penalty. In prison. Okay, and that goes for whoever. Priests, pastors. girlfriend's boyfriend or boyfriend's girlfriend, whatever it is, okay? Take the ass right out the home and put them right in prison, all right? And let them rot.
The other one that I didn't mention, I want to mention real quickly, is the abuse of women.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think they're all connected. I think they're all connected because I think what it is because we're not able to, or because the government has stepped in and people are so afraid to discipline their children that there's no boundaries. And with you not having any boundaries, when they get older, their anger is not restricted. So they're able to do stuff and we tolerate it. Because they're able to yell and scream at school where that was not tolerated before. They're able to yell at their parents where that was not tolerated before. So it goes one step further. And because the males are not at home teaching the girls, this is how you should be taught. And because the mothers are having people in the home that are yelling and screaming at them, they think that is their role. So when other guys come in and yell and scream at you, they think that's their role, so they accept the role. So when they hit on them, their mother was hit on, and they've seen it, so they feel as though that's their role, so they accept the role. So nobody has taught them what their real role is. Not all of them, but a lot of them have seen the wrong roles be portrayed in front of them, so they don't understand what their real role is, so they've taken on a fake role as a young woman that can be abused by a man, and that's her position. That's not your position, but that's what you've been taught. Because nobody has stepped up to tell you that that's not what you deserve and that's not what you should have. So I think it all comes from us not disciplining our children, not teaching our children, and not parenting.
You know, when they heard about the football player, or basketball player, or baseball player just hit his wife in the elevator.
The football player.
You know, to me, that is intolerable and absolutely disrespectful. And I am embarrassed to be a man like that man is. Just to be associated in any kind of way with that kind of behavior. I denounce that. I know a person can get mad for a moment, but you just because you're a big hero to drones or whatever, you can't treat a person that way. This happened to be a woman, which was not good. It was not good for the rest of the world to see that.
But you know, I take issue, you know, with that particular situation. Not only that, but all the other ones that we've witnessed recently. Okay, why is it that you know, when you're watching the TV, all right, social media, print media, radio, why is it that that it's all seems to be all men of color, all right?
That's who's doing it.
That's who's doing what?
But what I'm saying is
that's who they caught doing
right.
it. There's evidence.
But what I'm saying is, this is, you know, this abuse of women is across the board.
I know it is. I know it is.
Regardless of the ethnic.
Board, we shouldn't be doing it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that they should tell the whole story, because there's been millions of situations. All right, and it's not just black folk. All right.
Right.
It's all
slavery.
It's all no. Maybe to a certain degree, you know. Maybe that Massa ought to have his ass kicked.
Maybe
you know what I mean.
To be put back
Somebody ought to have abused him or her, whoever that was. All right. But you know, I just don't like them to, you know, pound, you know, one group over another. Okay. Like I've heard it so many times, okay? Like in movies, okay? Kill that black man because he's angry, okay? Well, I'm probably sure we've all heard that. Oh, it's an angry black man. Yeah. Black folks aren't the only people that get angry. All groups get angry.
That's right.
Okay? But, you know, I hate to keep hearing us being put in a category.
I know what you're saying. But, Ron, you know, when this man says, I'll beat my child the way my dad beat me. But that's generational. I don't think we have to... Things have changed since this young man was a child. And maybe he needed to be chastised. I don't know.
Well, I think it's gotten worse, Mr. Henry.
So what we need to do is...
these some different... Have you been in the schools? These some different type of children.
Oh, they are.
I teach children on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And they can be very, very disrespectful because a lot of parents are not home. So these kids are raising themselves, so they feel as though they're grown. So they talk to you as though they're grown. So they'll say some stuff to you and stand toe-to-toe with you and say some things to you that you didn't think they were grown enough to say.
Well, our culture, we're supposed to be transforming our culture to meet the world's model. We have...
we missed the mark.
Yeah, but our kids are not achieving the kind of model that they ought to be achieving in order to blend with other cultures around the world.
Because we're not at home.
Well, that's not the only... my parents weren't always home, but they
taught you something when they were home.
Yeah,
that's the difference. I mean,
Yes.
because my cousin is a teacher. She's a kindergarten teacher.
Sure.
And she says that most of her time that she's in school, she's teaching discipline. Because she says she's constantly saying, sit down in your chair, please don't hit them. So she's not able to teach. And then these are the kids that don't have an idea of what their name is. You know what? She said this one boy, he didn't even know his name. He thought his name was Little Boy because that's what his mom always said to him, Little Boy. So she thought his name was Little Boy because that's what she always said to him. So we're not doing our due diligence at home as parents, and then we expect the world to do the rest of it. We are not doing what we should be doing at home.
Yes, I agree. Hey, Ron, you know, I would suggest to you that there are many people out there watching this from education perspective and law enforcement. Why don't we just invite one on the show and have them respond to our concerns?
Absolutely.
Let's ask them
Absolutely.
if they have the courage to come here on this show and ask us and respond to some of our questions.
Exactly.
They can help to educate those people that we're trying to reach.
Exactly.
What do
Exactly.
you think,
Exactly.
Jackie?
Oh, I think that would be great. Yeah, I think that would be great because I think
Educators and law enforcement.
because we're
And
missing the
justice.
mark somewhere.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be our future, and we're not going to have a bright future if we don't change.
Exactly. 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 The school my daughter goes to, okay? I've been in some of these schools, you know, not just only in Flint, but in Detroit and Chicago, and, you know, some of them are just so unruly, it's ridiculous. You know, graffiti written all over the doggone walls and lockers and stuff. My sister, my daughter, she's 13. Every time I go in that school, you can hear a pin drop. All right? Seriously. I could take you to that school right now. You wouldn't hear a pin drop. That's how this school system has things under control. But they started it when these kids first came, you know, because they participate in daycare. That was quiet, all right. Kindergarten, quiet. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Okay. I haven't been to eighth grade. I haven't been into the high school, but I'm sure that's probably the same thing. It's that environment that they have created. Okay, damn what goes on at home, but when you come into this school, you come to this school, okay, ain't nothing happening.
We're not doing that.
All right, we're not doing that.
And that's why we're not ramping up, getting our kids to compete with other kids around the world in the highest performing school districts in the world. Our kids are not getting there because we don't have control of the classroom. The kids control the classroom.
We're wasting so much time.
And then my daughter told me yesterday, she's went into the 8th grade, that one of her 8th grade schoolmates is pregnant. 13 years old. That's, you know, that is just kind of blew me away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. Law enforcement is killing our black men, women, and children. How do we as African Americans stop this murderous assault on our race? White cops are shooting us down like we're some kind of wild animals. This has to and will stop by any and all means necessary. Folks, refuse to be silent. Don't let law enforcement intimidate you or scare you. Okay, find out and get the police handbook. All right, every police department has one. If you have to go to your public library, go and do so. Okay, read the Constitution and the Articles of Confederation. All right, because you could be the next. You could be the next African American with your hands in the air, killed for no reason. We all know cops lie all the time to protect their asses and their buddies. Again, refuse to be silent, my people. Jackie, what's your thoughts?
Well, you know, this can be a Pandora's box. We have so much internal things that we need to do. Our hands are not clean by a long shot. I mean, you know, we do so many things that are not on the level, and so when we see the police, we're already uneasy because of some of the things that we do. And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just saying a lot of people, you know, we don't have the proper tags. We don't have, you know, and then so we're uncomfortable. I teach my son that when you see the police, you should have everything together. So when you see him, be confident. Because you haven't done anything, so you can ask the question, officer, why did you stop me? But don't say it with an attitude, say it as an educated person, why did you stop me? And then you can ask that question. Make sure he can see your hands. Don't give him any reason to, you know, harass you. Have your information already in your car. There's things that we can do, like you're saying, go to the police station and know what your rights are. You don't have to let them search your car. You don't have to let them search your car. So you have to know your rights.
Nor your house.
Nor your house. You don't have to let them do that. And a lot of times they use intimidation. And it's because of lack of knowledge is what our big problem is. We don't understand what our rules are. And a lot of times we so scared that we just let them do anything to us, and then we cry later, but it's because we allowed them to do it. So if you allow them to search, then you've already compromised your right, and then they can't do anything about that. So we just have to make sure that we understand what our rights are, make sure that we have proper documentation, make sure we're not riding, as the young people would say, riding dirty. Make sure you have all your information, because now they have new bureaus where they can just run your tags and they can tell if you have proper insurance.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
they can tell now there's a new device that can show that you're texting and driving. So there's so many new things. So you have to make sure that you're doing your part, so that when they do, you know, if something do happen, they don't have to pull all these skeletons out and show us that you were stealing and you did all these other things like they tried to do to Michael Brown, which came out to be nothing. He paid for all the stuff that they claimed that he stole at the store prior to him being shot. So we just have to make sure that we do some internal things.
Yes, people, have your house in order, okay, in your car. License plates, if you got tickets, pay them, okay. Have your title and registration in your car, and as Jackie was saying, if you get stopped, keep your hands visible, okay? Keep your hands visible. Don't give them any excuses whatsoever to kill you, all right? Because that seems to be the theme nowadays, all right? I'm gonna kill me, one of them, all right? You see it happening all the time, and I'm hoping, you know, that these cops get their just due. Especially that one down there, all of them, all right? There's all kinds of examples, all right? Where this house owner in Dearborn, all right, blew this African American girl's face off, okay, because she knocked on his door, and he's behind the door, screen door, okay? The Michael Brown situation, shot in the back, okay? Just keep your house in order. That's the best advice that I can give to you, Mr. Hatter. What is your thought?
Well, after your filibuster and Jackie's, which they were very great statements, I can't add much to that because I agree with you 100%. The only thing that I would say in cases like in Missouri, the leaders are nowhere to be found. They allow these issues to erupt by players on the street. They create the sentiment,
Fester.
the stage, and the arguments. Whereas the leaders should come in and ask them to step aside and let us do our work. Like every other community, every other system in the world. They don't let people off the street run the show. And this is what happens. And and many times there are multiple issues involved in these cases. Sometimes they can report a racial issue, the other times a law enforcement issue. But we don't get a chance to discern ourselves with the right ones because somebody else has already established the sentiment of the situation, and we've lost control. We need to ask our leaders to step forward. They need to do a better job of stepping forward and seizing that moment so it doesn't fester.
Exactly. You know, and this police chief down there, since we're talking about Michael Brown in Missouri, he's been all over the TV crying, saying that he's sorry. That's not going to bring back Michael Brown. He's had several years to get that police department in order, all right? But it was just, well, they didn't do it prior to me, so I'm not going to do it now. In a city predominantly African American, 60-70% predominantly African American, and 50 white police officers and 4 supposedly minority officers. This is unconscionable. All right. If you wanted to make change, you should have did it. You the man. All right. The buck stops with you, buddy. All right? Don't come on TV whining and crying. You know what I mean? You're still an ass.
Yeah, one of the things we read, first of all, is ask our kids how to protect themselves from the police. When the police are renegades and out of order and out of control, kids must be protected.
Exactly.
Parents, it's up to parents and other types of lobbyists to lobby for kids that way.
With that, we must bring the show to a close. And I want to thank our knowledgeable co-hosts, and thank you, our millions of viewers worldwide, for visiting. This is Ronald Barry Robinson and friends saying, until next time, stay focused.